going now. So we're going to take it away. Welcome to today's direct Q&A with myself and Andrew. We also have Ed and Kevin on the team. They're going to be helping out in chat and Q&A today. Thank you everyone for joining. So as usual, if you've not been to a hospital town hall or a direct Q&A before, we're going to kick off with some product updates from the team. From today, it'll be Andrew, and then we're going to move into Q&A from the audience. We are live streaming, we are recording, so if you have any issues at any point, feel free to jump across to the YouTube channel and you can check us out there if you have any Zoom connection issues. As I say, we will have Q&A during this session, so if you want to ask any questions throughout, you can use the written Q&A at the bottom of your screen. You can also, as we get towards the end of the session, use the React button at the bottom. If you click in there, you'll see a raise hand. We'll be able to invite you on stage to ask your questions at the end. So before we get started with today's direct Q&A, just a couple more events I want to flag that are upcoming. Ones to add to your calendar. We have another town hall next week, our bi-weekly event. That's kind of an update across the business in terms of company updates and product updates. Again, there'll be a Q&A session during that, kind of a more broader subject audience. And then we'll also have AI Q&A the week after that. So scan those now. I'll also include links in the chat. And I'm going to hand over to Andrew to start providing some direct updates. Andrew, handing over to you.
Cool. Thanks, Miles. And yeah, thanks everyone for joining us. And yeah, Ed and Kev are going to be helping in the Q&A if you have specific questions. And guys, feel free to flag some of those questions that you think would be better answered live. And we can save those for the Q&A. We should have plenty of time for Q&A. That's what this is really designed for. So I'm going to run you through a few of the recent changes, a couple of the basics for anyone that's new to Direct, to Hospitable in general, and make sure that we kind of cover a good grounding in what Direct booking is, what the latest updates are, and then we'll jump into Q&A and help you with whatever you need help with. So yeah, we made some big changes recently with Hospitable, and these impact Direct. They do. I mean, some of these changes were actually motivated by Direct, things that we were kind of not really happy with from the beginning. So if you were on the legacy pricing, if you're on the kind of what is now legacy pricing, you pay for Direct at a per property level every month. And that didn't get us the seasonality we wanted. So Hospitable, we pride ourselves on only charging for properties that are active, and we couldn't do that with Direct based on the cost method. And so one of the motivations for kind of moving to these pricing tiers is we wanted to only charge you for a property when you got a booking, and we couldn't do that with Direct on the legacy way. So now on the new pricing that's out, and Mogul is not out yet, but Host and Professional are available to new customers and legacy customers. You are able to upgrade to Professional or downgrade to Host. If you only have one property, you'll save money downgrading to Host. And on the Professional side, if you're using especially Direct Basic, which actually has a higher per property cost, and say smart locks, you're going to save money on Professional. So it's not just about making more money, it's about kind of structuring things as well for the business. And so the Professional has access to Direct. Host does not have access to Direct. So if you're on Direct booking and you want to keep using Direct, Host is not an option for you for that. You would have to use Professional to do that. But that was one thing it gave us, is the ability to not charge for every property every month, regardless of whether there was a booking. That's what the prices look like. So again, Host is capped at maximum of 2 properties and does not include Direct, whereas Professional, you can grow to whatever size of property you have. It starts at 59, including your first 2 properties, including 1 smart lock per property, per active property. And Mogul is going to be then a little bit more expensive. It's going to include primarily the owner statements, and it's going to include 2 smart locks per property. So a lot of people are going to actually, not have much of a difference or even save money depending on how many of kind of Hospitable's features you're using. So what it looks at now, this is even kind of more complicated, unfortunately, because we have kind of 2 different groups of users. So if you're on the legacy pricing, that means you're paying, $40 a month for your first 2 properties. You're not on the new pricing tiers. You are paying a per property fee for Direct that we've gotten rid of at the Professional and Mogul tier. So Basic is actually more expensive. Like I said, you're starting at $8 per property, and it gets cheaper after you kind of go through 10 properties and down. And premium, you're paying $5 per property. And the reason premium is cheaper is because we have a transaction fee there. And the other thing we wanted to get rid of was this fixed fee. So we did kind of a cost plus analysis when we started with direct premium, and we needed to have a $10 fixed fee. We got rid of that with the pricing tier, and we now moved direct premium to a 4 plus 3%, meaning a 4% guest fee, a 3% host fee that primarily covers your payment processing fees, which mirrors what Basic is paying Stripe for those payment processing fees. So Stripe really, sorry, the Basic side, you're really paying 1% host fee to Hospitable to cover the software and a 3% fee to Stripe. So that gap really between Basic and Premium is only about 3%. And again, you're not having to pay that additional monthly price anymore once you move onto the pricing tiers. That's only a relic now for the legacy pricing. So hopefully that makes sense. I know this is kind of a lot of numbers to throw at you before really covering the basics, but we can kind of get back into the basics now. Just wanted to get the kind of the pricing tier updates out of the way. So we have two different plans with Direct, if that wasn't clear yet. Premium is by far the more popular plan. And this came out of feedback from hosts who have been, yeah, I think, coming out of COVID and really wanting to kind of de-risk their lock-in to platforms that were kind of adapting in their own ways to the realities of COVID and kind of rewriting some of the terms of service and said, we want direct booking, but we want the risk mitigated. And that risk mitigation looks like guest vetting, damage protection, chargeback protection, et cetera. So that's what we built with Direct Premium is let's keep the good things that OTAs provide, like air cover. How do we replicate that concept of air cover within Direct? And that's what we did in Premium. So every booking that comes through goes through AutoHost. We get guest verification, so you know who's actually staying. It's not just some random stranger on the internet who may or may not cause damage, which they're often tied together. They might be using a fake credit card, etc. So every reservation has $5 million of damage protection. Hospitable is involved in the transaction. We're the merchant of record. We're the name that shows up on the credit card. And that gives you the chargeback protection, because if we get a chargeback, we're doing millions of dollars in bookings every week or so. That doesn't really impact our business. If you get a single chargeback and you're a small scale host and you've only done a couple bookings, say on your Stripe account, they'll actually start to withhold funds from you, and they might actually kick you off the platform if you've gotten more than one chargeback. So it's a much de-risked path for us to be the merchant of record as the larger party, and also allows us to be involved in the risk mitigation as far as saying, no, this looks like credit card fraud. We're going to actually indemnify you. We're going to make it so you have a fraud chargeback guarantee. That's our job to protect you. And if we mess up and we let something through, you might never even hear about it. We'll actually pay for the chargeback out of our own funds. You'll still get paid out. And it also works out for like cancellations and things. So you're losing interchange fees for the credit cards when you have a 100% refundable policy on cancellations. Hospitable will eat those costs on Premium. If you're on Basic, that's you. You're the merchant of record on Basic. So switching to Basic works a little bit differently. We work with Stripe on that. On Direct Premium, you just connect any bank account and multiple bank accounts. If you have an LLC, if you're a property manager and you have owners, you can connect all of their payment methods and pay directly into their accounts. On the Direct Basic side, again, you're taking a little bit more risk. It's kind of geared towards maybe hosts that already have experience taking direct bookings. They have their own tech stack. They know they want to manage chargebacks. They know how to manage, guest vetting and insurance. That's Direct Basic. So just to cover again how the features break down, the guest service fee, and again, sorry, this is in flux. This is the legacy pricing, so 0% on Basic. If you're on the pricing tiers, we're now charging 1%, but no monthly fee. Premium legacy pricing has 6% plus $10. We've just harmonized that to 7% now on Premium. And you see where it breaks down is all the risk mitigation. So payment processing fees, guest vetting, chargeback protection, damage protection. Those are only for the Premium level. And you get a lot of benefits for those because we're eating a lot of the costs on cancellations. When you don't accept a booking request because the guest vetting results were bad, we're paying for those costs because you're not getting any revenue on that, but Hospitable is covering the cost of those. So the Premium is really a more mature product. And like I said, it's the more popular product. So what we see as of today, this is what the breakdown is in plans with our customers. So clear 75% of hosts prefer premium. If you're tuning in from somewhere outside the US, I think that's most of our audience today probably. Premium is only available in the US, the UK, and Australia at the moment. We're trying to expand that to Canada, but we're kind of held up by our tax solution provider. We want to be able to calculate the correct tax liability. We don't have a solution yet for the Canadian market, so we're waiting currently on that to be able to expand to our next market, Canada. So how successful has it been? We shared these numbers recently on our Hospitable online conference that we did a little while back. We don't have the Q2 numbers in yet, but Q1, this was 140% growth, so almost 1.5 times what we saw in Q4. We did just over $8 million in direct bookings. That means we saved host and guest about $800,000 in fees just in Q1 of this year. So we've been really excited about how fast this is growing, how much savings we're able to pass on to hosts and to their guests and be a successful channel. And as far as how individual hosts are doing, this was a slide from the town hall last week, and I actually had to update it because we had a few new hosts moving up in the rankings. So we've had 70 hosts do more than $50,000 in direct bookings. And direct has only been online for a little over a year. So some of these are just months of being online for some of these hosts that they're already hitting some of these thresholds. And we're going to start kind of creating a little bit of an incentive plan to hit some of these barriers. Our top host added $23,000 since the last town hall last week. And they're now at $700,000 in bookings as our top performing direct host so far. So that's a lot. That's close to $100,000 and that they've saved just in their year or so on direct. And they're just using a typical Hospitable site and really bringing a lot of value to their business. Okay, so I'm going to just cover a few of the recent updates then with direct and where we're going from there. And then I'll be done with my prepared remarks. So yeah, recently we launched a guest portal for direct. This is something that we're going to expand outside of direct very soon, make available for all of your OTA bookings wherever possible. What happens is when we send a direct booking confirmation email, we now have this manage my stay button, and we have a little video to show that in action. If it cooperates, there we go. So this is just a look on mobile. It's basically an online itinerary manager right now. So we're giving you house rules content, your payment content, access to cancellation policies, the ability to cancel. We'll show them how much is refundable when they cancel. They're going to need to verify to cancel as the primary guest. This is just really the V1 for the guest portal, and this will morph into much more of a guidebook. See if I can play that one more time as I talk. It'll morph into more of a guidebook. We're going to do upsells here. I've mentioned on the town halls what we see is in kind of the software we use to evaluate engagement with this. We're really seeing the guest engage with all of that content, and so that's been really encouraging. And they want more. They want to experience more of your property. Potentially, to book pool heating fees, to book rentals for equipment that you have, to extend their stay, etc. That's all things we want to empower with that guest portal. So that's been really encouraging so far. And Miles, I think I realized, there we go. The difficulty we have with the video sometimes seems to be different in practice sessions than it is in the live session. So that was the guest portal. We've added one feature even since then, since the first release of the guest portal. We now have rental agreements for all of our beta customers that are using direct. Again, this is another feature that will be expanding outside of direct eventually, but starts from direct and available for basic, premium, light, all customers. So you have the ability to create a template, get a signature from a guest, and then track all of those documents on your side. So this is what this looks like. It's homed now in guest experience. So guest experience is also an expanding concept. It's not just about messaging rules anymore. We're really looking more holistically about the guest experience. And the guest portal is going to be homed there because it's eventually going to be a non-direct only feature. That'll be for all things. So you add your templates, you scope them to properties. You can scope them by length of stay as well. So if you only need them for over 30-night stays, etc., it's a calculation you can do, a setting you can have. We use short codes so you can add your template and have it updated for every agreement. That gets added then to any matching scoped reservation on direct as a task in the guest portal that we were just looking at. So this guest now has a task. Their action is required to sign the agreement. They need to verify their identity. Again, we want to make sure only the primary guest is signing this agreement, so it's legally enforceable. They're going to scroll to the end of your document there in the guest portal, click to sign, and we're going to offer them matching, any third-party solution you might be using currently for your rental agreements. They can choose a signature font, and they can even draw their own using the pad, and then they insert that into the document, and then they click to sign the agreement. Once they sign the agreement, we show it as a finished task here, and we create an immutable, unalterable, locked PDF and save that to your backend so you can check those signed PDFs should you ever need them to enforce any terms on those. So super excited for guest portal and rental agreement. Those are the latest of many features that we've been releasing on Direct over the last year and a half that we've been live with Direct. Things we're all working on next. We're going to add more payment options. Currently, we support all major credit cards on Direct. We're moving into Apple Pay and Google Pay and probably buy now, pay later options as well very soon. We're going to make the fees on Direct a host-only option. So that 4% plus 3% fee structure that we have now for the new pricing tiers will make that a host-only, so you can have no fees presented in your channel other than fees you add, like a cleaning fee. But you can hide the platform fee for Direct and tell people this is your fee-free channel for booking. Payment terms, this one's been a long time in progress. We are getting very close to having this. We're going to be testing live next week. So hopefully that's going to be out very, very soon. And we can offer payment terms, especially for long lead times, large size bookings. You're obviously missing out on some conversions if you require hosts to pay everything up front when they book. So that'll really improve our ability to convert on, again, those long lead times, midterm bookings, those kind of things. So we're really, really excited to release that. Another project long in development, but coming very soon. So tax filing and remittance. We're scheduled to go live with this from July 1, July 1, we'll go live in our pilot jurisdiction, which is the state of Tennessee. So we'll be able to now file and remit for direct booking, which should be, I think, an industry first for direct booking. There's not, I think, anyone else really doing merchant of record direct booking other than direct premium. So on the direct premium side, we're going to start filing and remitting taxes on your behalf, so you don't have to deal with that. On mission for us, we always want to be saving you time. So that'll be the state of Tennessee in July, and then we'll expand very rapidly from there. The biggest part on our side was our own application logic to make sure that we can split those payments correctly, resolve your taxes for you, and make sure everything's compliant, because again, we're part of that transaction on the direct premium side. So we want to make sure that everything is working perfectly on those calculations. And then the site improvements. This goes back a few town halls. We moved off of a previous provider that provides the hospitable sites. When you use Direct, we provide you 11 different templates that you can use to publish your Direct website. We were using a third party for those that really tied our hands on our ability to make changes and move forward. Now we've migrated everyone off of that platform. Actually, as of today was the last day. And now we are free to start making more rapid improvements. So we've already done some SEO improvements for those sites to improve the search engine optimization. The next thing we're going to do is, make better sites for single property hosts, improve the different content blocks we have, start showing more of kind of the trust building content, how many bookings you've done, what your Airbnb rating might be, your reviews, those kind of things. We'll have a lot more leeway to make progress on the sites on our own. Looking a little bit farther down the road, another guest portal feature, building in damage waivers and damage deposits. The $5 million of damage protection we have on direct premium is great. What we found is it doesn't really cover really small expenses. You've got a $70 deductible on that $5 million coverage, which on a big book, when on a big amount of damage, not a problem. But little small things, our hosts have been asking for damage waivers, so we're going to get those done, damage deposits. We're going to get into midterm optimizations immediately after payment terms. So once we take those kind of payment installments, the next thing is recurring payments, and then really look at how our hosts that are into midterm bookings can use direct to really kind of supercharge their midterm booking performance, including distribution onto midterm specific platforms. We're going to look at optimizing payments again, split payments and split payouts. Split payments meaning if guests want to share the tab and you have 4 people traveling together that want to split the bill, we want to facilitate that. We also want to facilitate split payouts, which is kind of in conjunction with what we're doing with owner statements. Doing that with that 80-20 split between your manager and your owner, we want to make that possible at the line item level for direct payouts as well. We want to continue to look at distribution. So the one main distribution we've been able to do so far is Google Vacation Rentals. That's available to all direct hosts that have qualifying properties. You can get on there, and that's doing about 10% of our bookings on direct are being sourced at no cost through Google Vacation Rentals. So that's been a great experience. We want to find more services like that, more distribution networks like that. So we're going to be looking at those, as well as trip insurance as a way to, again, kind of optimize for conversions, help people get over the fence and go ahead and commit and make the booking on your site. So that's all the content I had. I think the message is there's no reason not to get started with direct unless you don't like more money. You're going to save between 10 to 14% over what you would pay an OTA, any OTA, to give you a booking. And, in the spirit of not paying for your own customer more than once, you do need a method to really capture those repeat guests and to build your brand. As you build your brand, you're even going to get new guests that for their first booking channel with you might be on direct, and they're going to find you through your site. They're going to find you through Google Vacation Rentals or something like that. And you're going to own that channel, and you're going to get more revenue from that channel, and your guests are going to save money too. So that's your call to action for today. If you're not on direct yet, please get on direct. Experiment, see if it works for you. We're going to be sharing more of those stories going forward of the hosts that are doing $50,000, $100,000, $700,000 in direct bookings on Hospitable, sharing their tips, what's working for them, and how they've been so successful on that channel. And I'm going to take a quick breath now, and I'm going to give you those QR codes again for next week's town hall. And then the week after that, the similar to this, another Q&A session, which is a bit more free form to ask questions about what we're doing with AI.
Sweet. Thank you very much for that, Andrew. Whilst you're taking a little breather, I'm just going to start looking at some of the questions we already have coming in. Just a reminder, folks, if you do want to ask a question live, you can raise your hand and we'll invite you on stage. The react button is at the bottom of your screen. You can click in there and there is a raise hand button. Just before we get started with that, I'm going to pull out a question that's buried in the chat. Please try and keep questions to the Q&A, folks, because they get lost in the chat. Just on pricing, Andrew, I think we need to kind of just clarify for Krista. Premium is not the same as the professional plan. So
yep.
The professional, sorry, Andrew, do you want to go ahead and explain that?
Sure. Yeah, this is unfortunately a little bit complicated. So Hospitable, when you subscribe now, you have a choice between the host and the pro plan. Your direct decision is separate from that. So host is that 1 or 2 property plan. It does not include direct. You need to choose professional to be able to use direct now. And then after that, you can decide what's a better fit for you, basic or premium. Basic is we provide you a direct booking website and a payment processor, Stripe, and everything else is on you. You need to make sure that you're, funding your liabilities for cancellations and refunds. You're managing chargebacks if they happen. You're managing your damage protection, that kind of thing. Premium is the other option for you, and that's where we're helping you with the risk mitigation. And you're going to pay a slightly higher transaction fee for that. But again, the difference is on the basic side, you're going to pay Hospitable 1% and you're going to pay Stripe 3% for your payment processing fees. So that's 4% total cost of booking there. That's as low as we can get it. And we're only asking for an additional 3% then to get you to 7 on premium to get all of that risk mitigation happening and Hospitable being the merchant of record and doing that. So That's two different decisions there. One is your hospitable plan and one is your direct plan. And those can be independent decisions.
Perfect. Thank you for covering that off for us, Andrew. Okay, so we're going to go to the Q&A now. Robert, I'm going to invite you on stage to ask you a question. Hello, Robert.
Yeah, good afternoon, Miles, Andrew. Can everybody hear me okay?
We can
Yep, we can hear
indeed.
you great.
Okay, great. So I've been using Hospitable for about 6 months now, and I really, really like the platform. Obviously, the enhancements are great. I've been noticing in the last couple of weeks, like the last 2 or 3 weeks, that messages, from guests, are showing up late in the web-based application. So in other words, somebody will check out, and then 2 or 3 days later, I'll get a message that they sent while they were still there. Has anybody else been experiencing late notification of messages as either read or unread messages?
Okay. Yeah, not something that I'm really able to comment on. It looks like a few people in the chat are saying no or yes. Yeah, sorry, this is really direct related content that we're trying to do here. So I can't tell you right now. That's not my area of expertise, but I will follow up with the support team offline and see if we can get that looked at, see if there's anything going on there.
Okay, thank you. And then I just have a quick question. So I've been thinking about direct, but I'm not sure that I really want to do direct because most of my business is through the relationship that these guests have had for 20 years coming back to the same property that I now manage.
Mhm.
I just need the ability to add that property into Hospitable, and I can't do it because it's not tied to Airbnb or direct
Okay.
or VRBO.
Yeah.
That would
So
be a great
that's
feature.
Yeah, that's a limitation we have now. It's something we are going to be changing is the ability to basically create your own property without an OTA listing first. Um, you can, if you're willing, you can add it to Airbnb and then delist it. We just don't have the ability to create the property from scratch, unfortunately, just yet. But you can delist from Airbnb as soon as you list that property, import it into Hospitable. You can immediately turn that off on Airbnb so it's not listed there anymore and use that as kind of a backdoor to creating that property in Hospitable if that works for you.
Oh, that's a neat trick. Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Over.
no problem. Yeah, sorry you have to jump through the loophole there, but yeah, it's something we will close in the next couple months. We're on the road to being more like a PMS. We've kind of always been a little bit hesitant to say that we're a full scale PMS, but we'll be creating properties from scratch in the near future.
Thanks, Andrew.
Yeah, thanks, Robert.
Great stuff. Okay, next up we have Alison. Welcoming you on stage, Alison.
Hi, can you hear me?
We
Yep.
can.
Hi, Allison.
Great. All right. So, sorry, I jumped on here a little bit late, but so with the direct booking, are there going to be hospitable charges just like Airbnb charges their own fee, or is this already coming all together with what we're already paying?
Yes. So on the direct basic side, right, we're going to be taking a 1% host fee. So that's not going to appear to the guest, but you're going to pay Hospitable 1%. You're going to pay Stripe 3%. That's on direct basic. On the direct premium side, there's a 4% guest service fee and a 3% host fee. And the next feature we're rolling out is the ability on your option to say, I want to take that entire 7% as a host fee. So there are no fees presented to the guest. But we still need that transaction fee to kind of cover the liabilities we're managing for that transaction as far as the interchange fees, the payment processing fees, the insurance on that transaction.
Okay. And I'm just not sure offhand, but what is Airbnb and VRBO charging?
Yeah, so Airbnb is doing 14 and 3. So the guest will pay a 14% guest service fee, a 3% host fee. And so you're going to save 10% on direct premium, or you're going to save 13% on direct basic over Airbnb. And that's the most performant channel. So the other channels are slightly more expensive than that.
Okay. And I didn't see where this was listed as the breakdown with your two variations of is it listed already or is that Am I missing it?
So it's
Of
definitely
what I can
in help desk
choose?
content. If you go
All
into
right.
like the help desk and you search for how does like how direct works or all about direct, I
Okay.
can bring up that slide real quick.
Okay.
See how far back I have to go here. I think it's right there.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the
okay.
slide I think that you're missing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll just leave
Okay.
that up.
So that's, yeah, if you just leave that up for a second, I'm gonna just screenshot
Yep.
this and okay.
And then just to cover a little bit more, because I didn't really cover this in the presentation, but so that 10% or that 13% that you're saving, your next task is to kind of think where you want to allot that savings, if that's going to be a cheaper price or a richer payout. And the way you control that needle is with markup rates, right? And so if you're not familiar with those at the account level, you can set a markup rate per channel and say, I want to mark up direct premium 3% to cover that 3% host fee that we're now charging on premium. Or I'd like to mark it up 5% because I know it's still going to be cheaper than my OTAs. And that's going to give me a 2% richer payout because it's the 3% host fee plus 2% extra margin that I want to take in a richer payout. Using the markup rates is the way that you can decide how that 10% or 13% savings is allotted between you and the guest. Does that make sense?
Okay, yes. And then now does this translate to savings for the customer or not really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is
So again, like the breakdown of that 10% savings is you can control that on the markup, right? So if Airbnb is charging a total of 17% fees and we're charging a
right.
total of 7%, you get to decide using markup rates if you're
Okay.
going to allot half of that 10%, 5% to a cheaper price and be 5% cheaper than Airbnb and 5% richer in payout, or if you want to be more aggressive and say, I want all that 10% to go to the guest, I just want to make more bookings on my own channel that I own. That's up
Okay.
to you. And the markup rates are the way you dictate that.
Okay. And now has Hospitable created their own insurance company, or is this outside insurance that is getting, and is it going to be as easy to get a claim as it is for Airbnb?
In our experience, it's a lot faster for larger claims. That's the feedback from our hosts. So we work with
Okay.
Superhog on that, and it's Superhog damage protection. It's not a secret. You can look it up online and see what it covers. But yeah, our feedback from hosts is on small claims, which again, we're trying to do more like damage deposits for that. The evidence burden is a little bit high. Like you're going to have to, do a good job making sure you have before pictures of your house, after pictures, etc.
Mhm.
But I think they're reasonable. I keep an eye on all the damage protection claims that come through us, and definitely on the larger claims that our hosts tell us. Some of them have 6, 8, 10 months, going back and forth with some of the OTA
Okay.
platforms to get a payout. We'll still pay out. We'll pay out in 2 weeks if you've got, organized. I've seen payouts in 4 or 5 days. If you can prepare your evidence and you're prepared on your side, it's just a matter of passing the information through, making sharing your bank account information, and you can get paid out in 5 days, I think is the fastest I've seen.
Okay, cool. And then how long have you guys been testing these direct sites out? I know that you don't roll it out to the public right away, so
I mean, this has been live since April 2023.
okay.
Yeah.
So full. Yeah, okay. And then
Yeah.
what was I gonna ask? Um
Okay. Well, we can bring
shoot,
you back up on
sorry.
stage if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
think of
sorry
another
about
one,
that.
that's fine. Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
I know.
just
Yep.
Once I go live, can I change my photos?
Absolutely. Yeah. So the photos are managed in the property section of Hospitable. I don't think they update immediately. So note that. But when you change your property details photos, that's where we pull them from for your direct website, and they will get updated. It might be up to a 24-hour delay. I don't think it's that. I think it may be 4 hours. But yeah, you can change those at any time, and we sync that content continuously. It's just not immediate.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Thank you. And
great. Thank you
yeah, I
very
didn't cover
much.
much on sites, just to mention too, that if you want to have your own custom site, you're welcome to do that. We have widgets that are used, and we're doing some improvements to our kind of developer tools that will allow some of these third-party direct site companies to design their own widgets and not have to use hospitable widgets. But we've got a lot of customers that use third-party sites, non-hospitable sites with hospitable, and that's totally encouraged.
Cool. Okay, a couple more people waiting to get on stage. Andy, inviting you on stage now. Hello.
Hey, thanks, Miles. Hey, Andrew. So
Hey.
my primary question's around something California, I think just recently passed, which is a law to have the full price up front. And the booking widget as it currently stands shows everything before sales taxes. And so I think this might not be in compliance with that law, but I would love to see, I don't have any properties in California, but I'd just love to see this in general. And it's always been kind of interesting to me that the user has to, see one price on that screen, then move over, and then all of a sudden it calculates correctly on the next screen. So are y'all working on that by any chance?
Well, we got here based on host feedback, so we'd have to think about how we want to change that. So yeah, they when we originally launched Direct, I think a lot of the feedback was people were shopping around, and depending on where your properties are located, the OTAs aren't showing tax in the first step either. And so the initial feedback from our host in town halls was, hey, you need to show the total before taxes because people shop around and they're not getting the right comparison of the price. So that's how we got here. Yeah, we're tracking a couple of the different California laws that are out. Only the other one being the mandatory 24-hour 100% refund if it's booked within 72 hours. That's the other one,
Mm-hmm.
which we can support through the product, but we're not mandating that yet, and we might do that. But yeah, I think we're definitely looking at that with the new law. I'm not sure if we're actually compliant or not based on that because we do state that it's the not including taxes. But yeah, we'll look at that. And it sounds like your feedback is you'd like to be able to determine yourself whether or not we show taxes or not, which is okay. We just have to create another setting for that, which we try and resist doing because it ultimately just makes the product more complicated to get working.
Yeah.
But happy to take that feedback.
Yeah, we typically, if someone messages us offline, then we'll typically give them like an all-inclusive pricing that has all the taxes and any fees
Yeah,
and stuff like that all included with that. So, and then we also give them usually like a promo code that'll try to wipe away the hospitable service fee type of thing.
yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily work out correctly math wise. So that's always been a little bit of a pain, but yeah. Yeah, just an all-inclusive pricing is usually what we try to do with folks. That seems to be very easy for folks to grok very quickly.
Okay. Have you tried using the custom quote feature at all?
We have not because I didn't hear that it had rolled out or anything yet.
Okay. Yeah, so that would allow you, and it sounds like the scenario you're describing, you can go into the calendar then when you're talking to someone kind of off platform, SMS, email, whatever, and say, okay, I went ahead and blocked those dates for you temporarily and set a price. So then you can set whatever price you want. You can add lines, you can add discounts, you can just change what the nightly rate is, and it'll show the complete price all in. And then you can just send that as a payment link to the guest and you can tell us, okay, give this guy 48 hours or 5 days to pay. If they don't pay, go ahead and remove that block. But I'm willing to give them this booking window,
Yeah.
and I get to specify a custom quote, right?
Right. Yeah. So I think we had looked at that kind of custom quote thing, but we still kind of run into the issue that we have to provide like name and email address and language and all the
Yeah,
other instead of like being able just to get to the quote part itself and figure out what
yeah,
a pricing would be. Because many times we're just emailing with these folks or talking with them on the
yeah,
phone. So we like
yep.
that's
And
just
that's
additional information that is just unnecessary to put in just to get a quote from the calendar feature. So we typically go to the
yep.
site directly to figure out what the
Okay.
pricing would be, and then we got to hop over and it's a pain.
Yeah, understood. And that's we've gotten kind of similar feedback, and we do have some improvements coming to that. So we're going to flip the screens. So instead of asking for the bio information up front about the guest, we're going to go to the price screen first, let you
Yep.
get to the price. And I think we probably can make some of that information optional. It depends somewhat on how the back end is working, but yeah, the making that flow easier for you is coming up very soon.
Great. That'd be helpful.
Cool. Thanks for the
Great.
feedback, Andy.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Yep.
Okay, we have one more person on stage, and I think we might take a crack at some of these written Q&A questions, Andrew. Okay, so Natasha, inviting you on stage.
Hey guys, how are you doing? Can you hear me okay?
Hi, Natasha. We can hear you loud and clear.
Perfect. Um, I apologize if maybe I'm just a little confused. So I'm sorry. I know I'm probably asking something that's covered already, but with the direct booking, is it that we pay on the new payment plans to have direct booking on a monthly basis, regardless of whether or not we get a booking? Or is it only we're only charged for direct booking if we receive a booking that is direct? Does that make sense?
Right. So with the
Yes.
new pricing tiers, we're not actually charging any fee for direct. It's just included in the per property pricing. And the per
Okay.
property pricing is based on an active property, right? So you have to have a check-in in those 30 days for Hospitable to invoice you. So at the pro level, that's $15 per additional property, right? We'll only bill you that $15 if you have a check-in in those 30 days. And that includes direct. So there's no actual kind of like carved out portion of that that's direct. We'll just charge you the $15 fee for all of Hospitable, including your smart device, including direct, if you have an active check-in. Does that
Got
make
it.
sense?
Okay. It does. It does. And right now, because
Good.
I just joined you guys, I think I'm going to be legacy because I got you last year. So in other
Okay.
words, with
Yep.
the legacy plans, I think it is an additional charge if I do want to do direct then, unless I change to the new
Correct.
plan. Okay.
Correct.
All right.
And that additional charge, that's the one that doesn't have the seasonality concept, right? So because of the direct cost structure, we had to charge every month for that, regardless of whether you have a check-in. So that $8 fee for direct basic or that $5 per property fee for direct premium, and they get cheaper if you have a lot of properties, but that gets charged every month for every property that you scope to direct. So if you're publishing that to a website, that tells us this is an active direct property, and we charge you every month for that, regardless of whether you have a check-in.
Thank you. That clarifies everything. Thanks, guys.
Great. Thank you.
All right.
Great. Thank you very much,
Yeah,
Natasha.
it's a struggle for us sometimes to clearly explain multiple pricing segments. We try to make it easy, but it's still hard.
Good stuff. So yeah, there's a couple of written Q&As. We don't have anyone with hands raised at the moment. I think one
Okay.
subject that's come up a few times that can quickly cover off is Google Vacation Rentals. Maybe you can just
Yep.
quickly run through the steps for pushing to Google Vacation Rentals, the typical time it should take.
Yep.
And I think that should cover off the questions that are coming in.
Yeah. So yeah, one of the learning lessons for Google Vacation Rentals is everything takes a while with them. It's kind of an old platform, actually. It's like the Google Hotels platform built on kind of old technology in a way. And so what your lead time is when you scope properties to Google is 2 weeks. And then some changes after that take several days before you see them. So if you're just getting set up on direct, your first two jobs, after you decide on your plan, is one, you're going to add a payout method. So that's a bank account if you're on premium, that's a Stripe account if you're on basic. You add a payout method. Your second job is to publish a site, whether that's a Hospitable site or a third-party site. You need to have somewhere that guest can land on, because Google Vacation Rentals is going to redirect their traffic from Google Travel or from Google Web Search. They're going to redirect to your direct landing page for that property. When they land there, they make a normal direct booking, right? And so that's free traffic from Google directed to your direct booking site. So you need a payout method and you need a site. Once you get those two things, as long as your property qualifies, and there's some specific qualifications for Google, like you can't have a length of stay longer than 30 days. It's not for midterm bookings. It's short-term rental only. It's only for fully rentable properties. You can't have like a shared space. It's not for rooms within a unit. It has to be an entire rentable unit. If you meet those qualifications, you can find those in our help desk content. So if you go to help.hospitable.com and you search for Google or GVR, you'll find that full list of qualifications. But then once you do that, and we show you as pending, when you scope those properties to GVR, you've got a 2-week wait minimum. And then once it's live, we'll show you a view on Google button. And then when you make some changes, you might change your URL, you might change some of your property content. That takes, again, several days, because we're sending a constant feed to Google and they process everything they're doing. Just their kind of platform checks take a while to roll out. So if my advice to you is anything with GVR, it's be patient, please. Once it's up and running, we'll start showing you how many page views your property is getting on Google, how many click-throughs you're getting, and how many bookings you're getting. And again, the success really varies. Overall, it's about 10% of our direct booking traffic is from Google. Some people are getting a lot more of that than others. It just depends on your market. You're not able to kind of change the sort order of your photos to optimize. Google does that for you. You just need to do what you can to make your property appealing like you would on any other channel. And then it's kind of up to the algorithm to determine how successful you'll be on GBR. It's not going to work for everybody, but it does really work for some people.
Cool. Thank you for the summary there, Andrew. One quick question before we dig deeper on some other stuff. And I know you addressed this, but I think some people joined late. A couple of questions around direct premium in Canada. Where are we with that? Why the slight delay? Maybe we can just deep dive.
Yeah, we had been told, so we use a tax solution provider for direct premium because we need to calculate the taxes and keep up with those and not have to maintain them. We were told that we're going to have a solution out by H1 this year, so the first half of this year. That's now been moved back to H1 next year, which is really frustrating. We might end up building that ourselves based on that delay. Because that's really a big disappointment for us. We really wanted to be live in Canada, but we have to build quite a bit of software to get there. So we'll see. That's I think a huddle that we haven't had yet to kind of decide whether or not that scope of work is reasonable for us. But if we do that, we'll have a solution sooner. If not, we're going to have to wait on the tax solution provider because it is a little bit complicated in Canada. It's not as crazy as the US. But we do need to be able to geocode any address in Canada and know what the tax liability is and whether you've registered, and whether or not you've registered determines a couple other things. And it's a bit much for us to take on our own at the moment.
Well, thank you for that. Okay, we have one more person with their hand raised, so I'm going to invite Juliana on stage. Hello.
And then we've got a few in the Q&A too that we can get to, I think.
Yeah. We won't be getting to those now, unless Juliana can unmute.
Hey, Juliana, you're on the stage. If you can unmute yourself.
There we go. Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. I just joined late. I think it was, I thought it was 12 o'clock Central, but I logged in, and you guys were already speaking for about an hour, right?
Yep, 47 minutes. But you can watch the recording on YouTube if you want to catch up.
Yeah, I will. I'm new to this, so I mean, I'm not new to short-term rentals, but I do have a property that I'm trying to list on. I ran other property for quite some time in a different state. Now it's in Wisconsin. So I did speak to Hospitable team members, and they did briefly explain to me how that works. But one of the questions that I actually have for you guys is when you so you're basically like a third party user, and you're feeding off Airbnb, Vrbo, Booking, Expedia. So I was told to have a separate listing in all these different websites, and then once I create an account with Hospitable, I'm gonna give you access to all these other platforms, so you can kind of conglomerate and merge it all into one, and then manage it out of the Hospitable website versus logging into every single website, which basically Airbnb and Vrbo, which now Vrbo is a part of Expedia, hotels, and I forgot something else. So there's no way to kind of, have a Hospitable account and create a listing of your website directly. You have to get it from other other platforms.
So that question came up earlier. And definitely go back and watch the recording on YouTube. So I'll just be real quick out of respect to the other guests. But that is the truth, that we require at least one OTA listing. So, if you have an Airbnb listing, we're able to generate a direct booking website off of the content that we're able to import from that. and that'll get you set up. You don't need to continue using Airbnb if you don't want to. You're welcome to. That's the channel management kind of concept that we're providing with Hospitable. But that's all we need is a way to import some content for you, and then we can spit out a direct website, and you can only use that channel if you like. We're just not able to create that listing for you until you connect an OTA channel that we can use to import some of that data. That's all.
Got it. And one more question. Is Airbnb listing enough to pull the listing,
Yep.
or you do need other?
That's all you need.
Just Airbnb, that's it.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you so much, Juliana.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, yeah. So I think we have some more written Q&A, as you pointed out, Andrew. So let's take a look at those, shall we?
Do you want me to just run through them, or you want to pick some?
Yeah. You can go for it if you want.
Okay. All right, so Andy asks, with a guest portal will be usable on other OTAs, does it handle the restrictions OTAs may place on outside OTA communication, activities, and payments? Yeah, that's the task we're looking at now. So obviously, your guest portal, we want it to not be blocked. This is particularly difficult on Booking.com right now. I think they're blocking all URLs unless you whitelist them. We don't have a way to do that programmatically through an API. So that's something we're looking at right now on the product team, is just making sure that we know how to share those links without them getting blocked, and that we respect the terms of service of those other platforms. Most of them it's kind of a gray area. Like if you look at Airbnb's terms, I know they don't really like you using like guest vetting on top of your bookings, but you have a right for that. And in many cases, there's a law stating that maybe you need to screen for sex offenders, or you need to, have an ID on file for your guests. So there are ways to advocate for that, but I think it's generally gray, but not black or not blocked for those platforms. So we're looking at those now. And we'll make sure when we launch the guest portal on other platforms that we tell you how to make it work on those platforms to make sure that it's successful. So Nick asked, are we going to be able to use the signature option with non-direct bookings? Yep, that's the plan. That's currently in progress. So yeah, direct is just the first channel. On the direct premium side, you are protected by very host-friendly terms of service. You may find you don't need a rental agreement. Your local jurisdiction might require it, so it's there for you. But especially the direct basic hosts, you don't have terms of service because Hospitable is not a party of your transaction and you're on your own. This rental agreement is going to be a big update for you guys to be able to have some protections in place. And the next step is same with the guest portal, expanding that to non-direct channels, to the OTA channels. No ETA on that just now, but we're going to try and have it live, I think, sometime in July. So I guess that is an ETA. There you go. Kim asks, I think this is a long question. Miles, if you want to look at that and see if it's something we can answer while I go to the next one. Anthony asks, when will the host covering 4% fee be available? Showing guests no fee bookings is important. I agree with you, Anthony. When will that be ready? Let's see. It's one of the projects we're working on, hopefully for June. So hopefully by the end of the month. We're trying to do a couple things. We want to get rid of on the premium side, we want to kill the 6% plus 6% plus $10 fee, even if you're on the legacy Hospitable customer. I don't like the fixed fee. It really makes it weird for small bookings. So we're going to kill that. When we kill it, we want to make it a win for the premium host on the legacy side. So we're going to include a couple things with that. So I mentioned Google Pay, Apple Pay, and this host fee only option. That's part of that project. So we're motivated to get it done soon. We want to do that as well. And hopefully we get it done within this month, give or take a week or two. But yeah, it's in progress. Let's see. Yeah, my property is in California and the law takes effect July 1, correct? So yeah, if you're referring to the Senate Bill 622 with a cancellation policy, Lisa, this is Lisa's question for California. You can go ahead and make sure that your cancellation policy is in line with that, as far as a 24-hour, 100% refundable policy after booking. As long as the booking was made 72 hours in advance, you are totally clear to set that up in Hospitable now in your direct cancellation policies. We probably will mandate that. And if you're looking at the total before taxes, that's something that we don't have an answer for yet. We're kind of still investigating whether or not that's required for us to update that now. Yeah, we'll take a look at that very soon before July 1. will you be able to have an upload an ID to the rental agreement as an option? This is another question from Anthony. Yeah, that's good feedback. We're definitely very much in the V1 of rental agreements. They're only available to beta users at the moment. And we're kind of, putting them out there for feedback. So that's good feedback. I think the other feedback we got from the town hall last week when we announced them was the ability to add additional guests. So to collect names, emails for any adults that are also on the reservation. So an upload ID, I don't know, maybe. I don't think we want to rebuild AutoHost. But your upload an ID option at the moment is direct premium. But we'll think about that. Todd asks, okay, that is not a question. I think
that's in relation to
that's a
reviews
reply
and
to
being able
another
to
one.
add. Yeah.
Okay, so we've still got 5 minutes. If anyone else has a last minute question you want to raise your hand for on stage and let us know. Otherwise, that's all the Q&A we have. But no. Anything in chat we saw that we need to address?
I don't think there's anything unanswered. I think we managed to get to everything during the session. Most people keeping it to the Q&A, which is good. Thank you very much, folks.
Good job, audience. Okay. Very well behaved.
We got one last question there from Andy.
Yeah. Yep. We covered this a little bit earlier. Yes. Visible progress, no. Back end progress, yes. So we're going to be testing this in production live next week. So if that all goes well, we hopefully have these in beta middle of June. So yeah, there's good progress. It's just not live yet. Any update on the TouchStay integration? Not really direct related. But I know TouchStay was working on the enrichable shortcodes. And that was something on their side. I know they just got acquired. That tends to be disruptive for your product roadmap.
I'm gonna jump in there because they've kind of messaged me. I think it is coming very soon. They are getting ready to launch it on our side here. So hopefully maybe by next town hall. So if you tune in next Wednesday, we might have a good announcement for you there. But it is development on their side that we're waiting for that integration to be live, of course.
Okay. Well, that was a much more optimistic update than my cynical M&A update. Spreading rumors. Sorry, no, it was not rumored M&A. That actually happened, but we don't know if that's actually going to impact anything. And it sounds like we have good news. So there you go, Steve. Any update on Eli? Yes, actually. That's great that you're here. The 1099 issue, we actually heard back today. I was on leave Monday and Tuesday. And I got an email today from our premium payment processor, and I have not read the entire email thoroughly yet, but the short answer is Hospitable is able to take over the 1099s and provide our own accounting standard. So take that as a qualified, yes, we had good news. I need to digest that email a bit more and make an official statement. This is only being live streamed on 4 platforms and recorded for posterity. But your unofficial reaction is yes, we have a pathway now to manage 1099s like our host would like them to be managed. So good news provisionally.
Good stuff.
And that's it.
I think we'll end it there.
Some good last minute questions though. I'm glad we kept it open for three questions there. Yeah, the 1099 one was a bit of a scare. If you didn't follow that, join our Facebook page. A lot of the drama was there. But the 1099 reporting for our US hosts, which is the majority of our customers, that I think $20,000 threshold for 2023 is getting dropped down quite significantly, maybe even $600 in 2024. If that happens, Congress tends to issue last minute delays for that. But that would impact almost all of our direct premium hosts on the 1099 side. We don't really track how it's managed on direct basic because Stripe is going to manage that for you. But we want to have cash accounting that you only obviously get reported on bookings that have checked in and you get paid out on. So that was a little bit of the drama there. And a couple of hosts have really kept on us to make improvements there. And we had to fight pretty hard with the payment processor on direct premium for that. But hopefully we have good news and you're going to have a 1099 that you would expect to have come tax season next year, which we're still a few months away from, but good to have some clarification there. Thanks everyone who stuck around. I'm just rambling at this point, so I think we can let you go. Thanks for joining us.
I think that's it. I've just put in the chat our YouTube link. So if anyone did miss the start of the session, you'll be able to go and check out the recording there and watch it all back. Thank you very much, Andrew. I think we'll end
Thanks,
it there, as
everyone.
you said.